When I first started writing this program for Lab 8, I already knew that I wanted to make this the process of taking a number and putting its digits into an array. I wanted to put that in its own method, but the reason I knew that was because I've been programming for a long time. And how would you know that you wanted to do that? And so a good rule of thumb is, if you're doing a one-line calculation, um, like the wind chill, for example, that probably doesn't need to go into its own method. But when you start having looping and some variables that are really only specific to a certain spot in the code, like all of what I have selected there just kind of belongs in its own unit together and nobody else cares about it. The only thing that we care about is that before this block of code happens, we have an array, and afterwards, by the time we print, that it's full of stuff, full of digits of the number. But this essentially is a black box where we don't really care what this does, we just want it to do what it does correctly. Whenever you have that situation, when none of these variables that are in this highlighted area really matter in the rest of the program, that's a good candidate for a method. So let's take this code and cut, maybe I'll put a to-do to myself, to-do call method to put digits in array. And then I'm going to go and put this in its own spot. This is a fine place for it up here, and I don't even know. I'm just going to put void because I don't know what yet, and digits to array, and we'll just think about that in a minute. Okay. Essentially trying not to think about what I'm doing too much here, but I'm gonna do it in a second when I write the Java doc. Let's pull this over using Shift Tab. Okay, so digits to array. What is this supposed to do? Actually, this is what it's supposed to do. This is a great description, so I'm going to use that for my Java doc. And hopefully, as I write the Java doc and think about what it does in English, I can have a clearer picture in my head of what I should be doing in terms of parameters and return value and so forth. So what's this do? This says, totally mangling this here. Let's see if I can take this stuff and put it up in the Java doc and massage it a little bit. Here I don't have to say in the Java description how I do it. I have to just say what I'm doing. In order to do this, what do I need? I need an array, for sure. This digits array came from someplace outside of this whole code path. And so if I don't see it declared anywhere in here, then I'm going to need to take it from somewhere else. That somewhere else has to be the parameter list for a method. Array, let's see, what are we going to call it? It's a number. Number, which is the number to convert to an array, or to store into the array. Store into the array, digit by digit. And then, the great thing about arrays is that they're passed by reference, so I don't actually have to return anything. I just need to make sure that the array is modified at the end of the method. Int number. Okay. I will need actually no, that this number is supposed to be just a normal int. And then I will actually need the array too, yep. Need another parameter. Param digits, which is the array to store the digits into. Okay. Int digits. I call it digits array here. I could call it digits array here. I am still trying to avoid making it the exact same name as the ones in main, just to underscore the point that these are different variables in a different scope. Okay, this index is a local variable. Nobody else knows about it except digits to array, so that's fine as it is. And same thing with last digit. That's born inside the scope of the while loop, so it actually dies each time through the while loop and gets recreated as a fresh variable every time the loop goes around again. This should do it. because of this line, this array is actually getting modified, and that means that the original array it passed in here is also going to be modified. So let me fill in my to-do in main, and then we'll give it a test. What did I just call it? Digits to array, passing the number first and the array second. Number, digits array. Okay. Build it and run. Yep, looks good.